Kumar 69 bpsc essay total score 168, essay 160, essay 256, essay 352. Topic 1. Improving the agricultural system can support the rural economy of the nation. Recently, Sukhet model of Bihar gained popularity in India, so much so that even our current Prime Minister Narendra Modi mentioned it in one of his Man Ki Baat. It is a system which brings cow management and agriculture in a virtuous cycle. By improving the agricultural system, it gave impetus to rural economy, which saved prices spent on fertilizers and became a success story of circular rural economy. The above case study shows that how innovation in agriculture is key to rural success, which is in turn is a key for national development, as quoted by Gandhiji. India lives in villages. So, if India lives in villages, the rural development must be a core concern of our policymakers. Rural development in turn is impossible without agricultural development. As according to economic survey, 70% of village households are dependent on agriculture for their livelihood. Agriculture, kisani kheti or whatever names we give it, is mainstay of rural economy of India. The word culture in agriculture shows how it is more than a farming. Livelihood, hunger, daily time, and even nights are revolving around agriculture for rural population, which is around 80% of India's census to 2021 11. But sadly, the GDP contribution of agriculture has stagnated to around 20% because of a number of issues: rising input cost, worsening terms of trade, and lack of better price discovery in some of the issues associated with production part of agriculture. According to CMIE support survey, there has been a decline in agricultural credit availability. In this case, how the 86% of agriculturalists, which are called small and marginal farmers, and who possesses less than 1 hectare of land, can support the rural economy. Apart from production part, the marketing of produce is another issue which has plagued the development of agricultural system. The ill legislature farm bill had to be withdrawn. The hegemony of APMC or agricultural produce marketing committee still stands still, and poor farmers can do much. Storage is another area where improvement is needed. For a country like India, storage part of agriculture is more important because it is linked to food security. According to recent Global Hunger Index, India ranked 111, bringing it in severe category. Hence, there is no question in desirability of agricultural reforms. India, which hold potential for rural economy and opening of its animal spirit. The Union Budget 24 Economic Survey 23 has mentioned such improvement recognized as unleashing the potential in one of the sub-theses of budget. Agricultural development was given one of seven priority. Among other various steps, development of open data software for linking agricultural system of nation was mentioned. If done so, it could complement e-NAM, Electronic National Agricultural Market, and fulfill the goal of digitalization of agriculture. Agricultural Infrastructure Investment Fund (AIF) would see the post-harvest storage development of India. It would complement Kisan Credit Card. The Economic Survey 23 mentioned MS Swaminathan Committee and Committee on Doubling Farmer Income. Supporting the rural economy by increasing profitability in agriculture is a logical step. The allied sector of agriculture, which include fisheries, livestock, etc., also given impetus with schemes like PM Sampada Govardhan Scheme or Waste to Wealth Program. Now the ones is an onus is on bureaucracy, who often are from these rural areas to unleash the potential. When one mentions agriculture and its linkages with rural economy, we cannot overlook the state of Bihar. The agrarian state in recent decades has shown bigger agricultural development, often winning national awards like Krishi Karman Awards. It was Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam who first mentioned the potential of agriculture of Bihar in his words. Agriculture is the core competency of Bihar. Data-wise, it employs 85% of rural population and contribute to around 21% of GSDP. Among the various improvements, agricultural roadmap deserves special mention. It was started in 2008 and recently fourth agricultural roadmap was launched for 2023 to 2028. Among other things, it prioritize millets and organic farming, crop diversification, etc. Notably, Bihar has first state to consolidate agricultural cabinet in 2011. Later on, Bihar launched agricultural investment formation policy in 2020, which grants capital subsidies to farmers producer organization. Food processing sector has been consistently inviting more than 40% of all the FDI. Economic Survey 2023 mentions sectors like makhana, tea, medicinal plants in the list of potential agricultural reform. In the spirit of International Millet Year, we have recently announced Millet Mahotsav in Ara for medical crops. Apart from these improvements, there is a need to invest in irrigation storage capacity etc. so the true spirit of Jai Kisan can be organized. Agriculture itself holds key for improvement if we could achieve accessible, green, recyclable investment, consumer friendly, upward forward linkages, less costly, timely umbrella reform. We can surely revolutionize the rural economy through agriculture. Topic 2: Current status of women empowerment in perspective of political empowerment. Sarita was a poor Dalit woman in a poverty-ridden village called Murao in Bihar, but due to government's affirmative actions, she became the Pradhan of her village. She became an influential voice of women empowerment and child development. Even World Bank captured her story and made her a signature name of potential empowerment. On a separate incident, Neena Devi was also elected as Mukhia of village called Fulera, but her function was hijacked by her husband who bore the little title Mukhyapati. This story was shown in a recent web series Panchayat, which brought into light the gaps in political empowerment of women. The above incident paints a paradoxical picture of women empowerment in India. The contemporary discourse of gender equality in India brings women right in politics at center table. After all, what exactly is women empowerment? Giving power to Adi Abadi and power is control to politics. In that context, political empowerment of women in India revolves around more women occupying political offices. For India, parliament, state legislature, and panchayat can be called as political offices. Extra constitutional bodies like pressure groups or civil society organizations may also qualify in that definition. But before understanding current status of women in political office, we need to understand the political philosophy of women empowerment. It was Carl Catherine who quoted, "When I look at the state, it appears male to me." And the mother of feminism, Celine the Weaver, said, "One is not born, rather becomes a woman." Back in ancient Greece, it was Plato who gave women the possibility of being philosopher queen. On lines of philosopher king, the ultimate monarch G.S. Mill is modern times can be contribute to agitating for women's right to vote. So the central argument of political empowerment of women is twofold. It would lead to empowerment of women and it would make political sphere itself empowered. According to Times Magazine survey, women have proved to become better leaders who take care of sensitive issues like health situation, sanitation, etc. The survey also points to how women joining politics has made males more civil and enlightened. Now we shall see some facts and concepts that bring the current status of political empowerment of women at various levels. Starting with parliament, which include both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, the numbers are not very inspiring. According to Association of Democratic Reforms report, in current 17th Lok Sabha, only around 15% of women are there. Ironically, this is the highest share so far. Presence of many women MPs like Mahua Moitra, Supriya Sule or Smriti Irani have made the deliberative democracy sound, but women coming from forest backgrounds are rarely seen, which is not inspiring for a country which believes in Yatra Narya Pujaste Samanti Devta, meaning where women are worshipped, there uh, resides the god. In this backdrop, the recent passage of 106th Constitutional Amendment Act or Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam can be touted as high watermark in political history of women in India. Other than providing 33% reservation in parliament, the bill have sub quota for SC/ST women. The only challenge is the delay in its implementation. The above act also reserves the 33% seats at second level of political offices, which is state legislature. In many states, the women MLAs are below 10%. In Bihar, out of 43 seats, 28 are occupied by women, around 11%. But women coming to state legislatures are important as a woman can represent the political community easily in legislature constituency. Coming on the third level, which is panchayat, here we have some good news. 73 and 74 Constitutional Amendment Act already reserved 80% of seats. Since 1993, Panchayat and women empowerment is an old success story. The Panchayat women can be called as ambassadors of political empowerment at local level. For example, 21-year-old Anushka became youngest Mukhya in one of the Bihar village Panchayat in Bihar. Apart from these political offices, women political activities or NGO heads are also there who are changing the wheels away from patriarchy. To conclude the state, we can quote the World Economic Forum Center Gap Index. It has four parameters: educational, attainable, economic opportunity, health and survival, and political empowerment. To our despair, India rank in above 100, and the area where we are lagging most is political empowerment. So what's the issue of political empowerment? Why our numbers are not favoring us? Why we all have more Sarojini Naidu's, just why we can't have more Sarojini Naidu, Suchita Kaplani, India, Indira Gandhi or Rabri Devi? That is the question which India's power elites must ask, because when they ask, they will reach to this conclusion that the lack of intra-party democracy, the inconsistencies in ticket distributions, or the inherent biasness that a woman can't lead is the major cause of stagnancy. It's high time that we take Nari Shakti away from sloganing and symbolism. It's time to make career easy for women in politics. Bihar itself presents an example by giving 50% reservation to women at Panchayat through Bihar Panchayati Raj Act 2006. As the first state, it inspired other states in empowerment of women. If women would be empowered politically, she would be empowered socially too. The idea was also supported by Baba Sahib Ambedkar, who believed I measure the progress of a society by the progress of women. 56 marks. 3. बिना समय के बोली हो सकेला का, बिना बोली समय हो सकेला क्या, कोस कोस पे पानी बदले चार कोस पे पानी. The above famous Lokokti people saying from Bihar shows the understanding of the people of Bihar when it comes to language. Society. The literal meaning of the quote is on each course a metric of distance water changes, and water after four course the pani, boli, bhasa language changes. This quote reflects the same idea which is given in the topic. The first part of the essay says bin समय के बोली हो सकेला का, meaning there is there really is it possible to have a language without society. It brings the importance of society. The second part says bin boli समय हो सकेला का, meaning thereby without language can there be a society. It brings the importance of language. In this is we would try to understand the complex yet dynamic relationship between language and society. Let's start with this famous anecdote. A child was born in the hustle and bustle of the society, but unfortunately he was unwanted child. The parents decided to put him in the jungle, but the child was born and brought by animals of the jungle. When he grew up and went into the pupils' society, all he could do was making sound like animals and no Boli language. This proves the first part. There can be no language without society. The child was raised without a human society, hence there was zero Boli. Thus, the development of language requires society. After all, what is a language but an expression of our ideas through a medium? For instance, if the people of society reformed the dead death ceremony with stoic acceptance, the words like Angya would be created. People of Bihar does not see that only as a tragic occasion but a ceremony of mukti. Hence, Anghya Bhoj, uh, etc. language developed in their jolly pursuit of happiness. There are very unique words from Bihar like Mado, Tilak, Barat, etc. of marriage ceremony. On hearing of that word, only our heart are filled with joy. This is the reason of our socialization, where language has functioned as an essential ingredient. Imagine if somehow a catastrophe comes and all people migrated to some other place. In that case, the language will die down. Thus, to foresee in our 8th schedule languages, it is recommended that we should protect the societies. Santhali cannot survive without Santhali people, or we may promote Hindi under Article 342 as much as we want, but if we don't form a Hindi community, it will be difficult to promote. Coming on second part, that is Bin Boli Samaj Ho Sakela Ka. In this interdependent and symbiotic relationship between language and society, language also have a dominant role. If we ask what is one thing which will connect to people who might be physically different, bhasa or language. Thus, language is the thread which connects the beats of people and thus form a string of pearls. In the word of Bhartendu Harishchandra, निज भाषा उन्नति हाय सब उन्नति के मूल, which means our language is the reason of development, the very root of development. It is only the Boli or language which has created cultural societies in Bihar. For instance, the cultural sphere of Bihar is divided on the basis of language into four parts: Bhojpuri, Angika, Maghi, and Maithili speaking areas. Now, suppose if this police didn't exist, we could have missed the Samaj society of varied cultural diversity. The sweetness of Maithili people could be not seen. The direct talk of Angika people hadn't been there. Truly, बिन बोली समाज हो सकेला का. But there are counter arguments too. In this age of technology and globalization, we also see different trends. Despite social media sites being so, uh, there is existence of Boli. Recently, a foreigner from Germany has seen to speak a fluent language of Maithili. He wasn't born and brought up in Mithila. For Bin Boli Samaj Ho Sakela Ka, we cannot deny the development of sign languages. The Stephen Hawking couldn't not speak, but he created a powerful scientific community and contributed immensely. In the age of artificial intelligence and natural language processing, a Boli need not find a society, or a society can flourish without a distinct language. But those language processors will have to be trained by people only. People who won't belittle anyone, be it language or society. Therefore, we must recognize this relationship between language and society and must presence preserve both. New education policy calls for teaching in mother language at primary level. This is a step in the right direction. The society is rich only which rich in language and vice versa is also true. To conclude, भाषा समय से बनेला, समाज भाषा से बनेला. Language is made by society, society is made by language. Thank you. बिन भाषा उन्नत आहे, निज भाषा उन्नत आहे, सब भाषा से. कल्चरल सोसाइटी ऑफ बिहार. कोस कोस में पानी बदले, बिन समय के बोली हो सकेला का.